a Sopwith Hispano Suiza Triplane. Closely following the Clerget-powered triplane, a second Sopwith triplane fighter was designed and built in 1916. This was a completely different airplane that was designed around the new Hispano Suiza engine, the celebrated V8 design by Mark Burkigt, that in various forms and derivatives was to power thousands of Allied aircraft before the armistice was signed. For this more powerful engine, of which a 200 horsepower version was in early prospect, a bigger aircraft than the Clerget triplane was designed. Whereas the rotary-powered aircraft had obviously close affinities with the pup, the Hispano Suiza triplane seems to owe more to the 1.5 strutter. In particular, its tail unit appeared to be identical with that of the two-seater. The configuration and dimensions of the Hispano Suiza engine were known a full year before examples of the new power unit had reached England, and it is not impossible that the Hispano-powered Sopwith triplane may have been an earlier design than the Clerget triplane, but had to wait some time for its power unit. Two aircraft, numbered N509 and N510, were built. The first had a 150 horsepower direct drive Hispano Suiza, the second a 200 horsepower geared engine. Apart from different cowling details and the higher thrust line and left-handed air screw of N510, the two aircraft were almost identical. N510 had a different fuel system embodying a gravity tank in the top center section. The only feature common to the Clerget and Hispano Suiza triplanes was the interplane bracing. Both had plank-type struts and the same seemingly sketchy arrangement of flying and landing wires. Both N509 and N510 had a circular nose radiator, and the engine installation was generally similar to that of the later Sopwith T1 and B1. This suggests that it must have been found satisfactory on the triplane. The fuselage was deep, and for a single-seat fighter, capacious. Indeed, it may have been too capacious, for the pilot sat well down in the cockpit with his Vickers gun some inches above eye level. His view for landing and fighting must have been poor. The main planes were larger in all dimensions than those of the Clerget triplane. The chord, 4 feet 3 inches, was a full foot greater, and the wing area was almost 50% more than that of the rotary-powered type. Ailerons were fitted to all 3 wings. Their total area of 49 square feet was 15 feet more than that of the Clerget triplane surfaces. Both Hispano Suiza triplanes were flying in 1916, but it is doubtful whether N510 saw 1917. It was reported to be at Eastchurch in December 1916, but it was destroyed during its trials. It may have been the Sopwith triplane, of which Air Chief Marshal Sir Arthur Longmore wrote in his book, From Sea to Sky. It was at Eastchurch that I saw, for the first and only time, the effect of tail flutter, which caused a fatal accident to the pilot of a new Sopwith triplane within a few feet of where I was standing. The pilot was doing a speed test low down when I saw the tail flutter up and down twice before breaking away completely from the fuselage. The 150 horsepower triplane, N509, had a longer, though non-operational career. It was flown at various Royal Naval Air Service aerodromes. Like N510, it was tested at Eastchurch, and may have been used in attempts to determine the cause of N510's tail flutter. For Harry Bustede flew it on 2nd January 1917 and noted tail vibrations against the entry in his logbook. In March 1917, N509 was at Westgate. By July it was at Manston, where it was flown by Flight Sub-Lieutenant Loft on the 7th of that month. Apparently it remained on Manston's charge, for it was written off there, after fair wear and tear on 29 October 1917. Official test reports on these aircraft have yet to be found, but the scanty figures that have survived suggest that in speed and climb, performance was good. But the pilot's view was poor. Maneuverability cannot have equaled that of the Clerget triplane, and Hispano Suiza engines were in demand for the SE-5A production program. The Sopwith Hispano triplane could not, therefore, be considered for production. Well, in my tradition of coming up with stuff one video too late, in the last video with the Sopwith long-range tractor triplane, the book didn't quite tell me whether or not the plane ever flew. And I found this on the Kingston Aviation website. Sopwith's long-range tractor triplane, LRT-TR, is finally assembled and gets photographed with some key members of the Sopwith team. Taken for a test flight by Harry Hawker, Ernest Newman in the Top Gunner's pod is not at all impressed when it moves out of true on landing. Despite the 250 horsepower Rolls-Royce engine, its performance does not match their 110 horsepower 1.5 strutter, which by magic of firing through the propeller and its ring-mounted rear gun has almost as much firing freedom. It will still go back to Kingston to be modified. Also with today's video, the Hispano Suiza Triplane, the book doesn't say who it was that died testing N510. Well, his name was Leslie Hewitt Hardstaff, and I think anybody who dies testing an airplane deserves to have their name out there. Here's more on Leslie Hewitt Hardstaff. And there are no leftover photos of the Hispano Suiza Triplane. Here's the regular montage. Okay, next up, some airplane called the Sopwith Camel. All right.